Hello, hello! Welcome to the show. Psyche back here with another adventure in Minecraft, and today we're taking a look at Spawn Village and all of the lighting up around it. You can see all the buildings are done. I believe pretty much everything was done in the last episode, kind of just showed you what has been going on. Along with that, I've been lighting up around, trying to get everything lit up fairly decent amount around it to help get rid of bad spawns. I basically just have this section here left, right in here. So we're going to work on that a little bit while I talk about Minecon. Minecon happened last weekend, not this last weekend, but the weekend prior to that. I'm actually recording this about half a week prior to it coming out, so it's fairly fresh still in my mind. There's quite a few things about it that I would like to bring up and talk about. I think one of the most important things to really bring home about Minecon is how much it has changed and the direction it is now headed has head to create something that is going to quote-unquote be long-lasting. But I think there's a problem with that, and I'll explain right after I go to sleep here. You can also see I got some diamond stuff going on. I did decide to do some enchanting. I have that helmet we created, and then I got a decent set of boots. Another thing that came out of it was an infinity bow. That wasn't actually an enchanted item, that was just a combination of a whole bunch of bows after spending some time with the skelly drops. And I'm still just messing around with the sharpness 1 diamond sword because it's still there. But I did create a axe. We're working on that. I'm gonna get that all ready to be mended. Basically add sharpness to it and mending to it, and then I'll have efficiency 4 on breaking 3, sharpness 4, mending book. That's what I want to have for my weapon. Also got the silk touch, you know about, an efficiency 4, fortune 2. It's not a fortune 3, but it's better than nothing. I saw this just a second ago, and I don't know who put it there, but I'm assuming somebody wants to name this guy Carl. I don't know if you can actually name them. Maybe they just put that there as in, can we name him Carl? Water Bear mostly brought these guys over here. I helped him out a little bit with it, but for the most part, this was all Water Bear's doing. We had to add some glass and stuff in to kind of make things work. There's also a villager down there to get these guys breeding. They had one baby, which is quote-unquote Carl over there, and then nothing has happened since. And I know that they need crops and this and that to get things going, but I'm curious as to what may have happened to change it. I also haven't seen them go into this place at night recently, so it's almost like this is no longer a house for them, and that might be enough to make it so they don't spawn more babies. We only need really 1 or 2 because I want to put one over there and one over there in the cow area. If they have decent trades, cool. If they don't, no big deal. We'll go ahead and work on some more of this lighting up stuff while we're talking a little bit about Minecon. Now, I mentioned they've made a mistake, and they're heading in a direction that can only be said one way. They're heading in a direction that basically puts them in a situation where they want to have a child audience. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, really. Even long term, I think it's fairly sustainable. But there is an issue. In fact, there's multiple issues with this concept that I think they just didn't see, they overlooked. Maybe they just don't care. I really don't know. I find it pretty important, though, and I can't believe that they didn't think about it. They're shunning a large part of their original audience, and that is to say all the people that really started YouTube I'm sorry, Minecraft being popular on YouTube, aka it started YouTube. Because let's face it, if it wasn't for Minecraft, YouTube may have been in a different place right now. It was very much themed for children, and it kind of pushed out the adult crowd. Like all of the Twitchers or YouTubers that were more adult themed were kind of pushed aside. You know, they were still there and they were welcomed and everything, and they had them do a couple of things here and there, but they really, really wanted to cater towards these YouTubers and Twitch streamers, more so YouTubers, that were kid-friendly or had a large child audience. And I thought that was really bizarre that they decided to go that direction. Like, I get for long-term and out-and-out profit, it makes sense. I understand, but I don't know why you would shun such a large audience. Furthermore, a large audience that likes to spend money, because the adult crowd that's still into Minecraft tend to be, not always, but tend to be single adults, which means they spend a lot more money on themselves, they spend a lot more money on entertainment versus an adult that has children. There's also a lot of entertainment value on Twitch and in the YouTube community that is just plain and simply adult-oriented, adult-themed. And to me, I don't know, I just feel like I got pushed out. I feel like I'm being pushed out of a community driven by people who want to push this as being a child-only game and educational tool. Well, I think it's great that they're using it as an educational tool, and anytime you get a way to teach a child how to do something new, that's a fantastic thing. But there's so much more to this game than that. And yes, I understand the community shrinking, and yes, I will accept or acknowledge that the majority of that shrink is coming from the adult or the older crowd. It's just weird. It's very weird. I don't know what else to say about it. Something else that I'm purposely getting rid of all the flowers. Yes, Scree will absolutely hate me, but that's fine. Enough of that, though. There's other things that happened there that I thought was really good. I thought that them spending some money on the intro and exit of the thing, although it was a little bit weird how they did that. It's almost like they intended on the entire thing being an intro. That was cool. It was nice to see some skits and stuff going on. Again, very much oriented towards children. That being said, it being held, you know, again at Disneyland, that's really what they were going for anyway. So, you know, if they're going to cater all these things to that, well, by all means, do it right. Do it 24/7, 100%. And I think they did. As far as the venue goes, obviously I didn't go, but it looked like it was about the same size as it was last year. They didn't talk about making any new records with attendance or anything like that, and I am assuming that they have some way of gauging, you know, just exactly how much they think they're going to sell, if it is going to dwindle, if it's going to stay where it is, etc. They seem to be judging how big of a draw they're going to pull and all this pretty well. The event's not going to get any bigger than it is. I think it's pretty much at this point it's going to stay, you know, basically at this level, and especially if they continue to push for it to be a thing that happens at places like Disneyland. You're only going to have so many people willing to pay whatever the amount is that you're charging to go, along with that costs of staying at an area that is already inflated by having a theme park next to it. Watched a few panels. The only one that I really cared to watch was the Minecraft one, and it was not streamed on Twitch as far as I know. It was not on YouTube for sure, so I had to watch that via Periscope that Chad started shortly after it popped up, and thankfully he was quick to do so we could enjoy that. Saw the opening closing thing. I saw the VR thing that Chad and Co effectively took part of, and I also caught another one that was Hypixel and MK the Worst doing some stuff, basically trying to get an attention for kids, you know, to help them master what they were working on as far as kind of a Pac-Man related type game, and you know, conquer this, and with their help trying to make it interactive. Hypixel definitely used to being around kids, very much patient and motivated to be child friendly, etc. MK the Worst was just a terrible terrible idea in my opinion to add to that mix. It was all wrong. It was weird. She felt out of place the entire time. I don't know. I don't know much about her, but from what I saw, I didn't care for it at all. So, you know, maybe she's really, really cool. I know that she does things with Kurt from time to time and stuff like that, but wasn't for me. Wasn't for me. I've been kind of going through everything but the most important thing, which was the announcement of all the stuff coming out in 1.11. And by now everybody's going to know what that is, more or less. If you don't know what it is, I would strongly suggest going and seeing good God, 1.11 is going to be in entirety. I'm just going to talk about the things that I thought were pretty cool. And I gotta say that the first one that comes to mind is that chest. The shulker chests, or whatever they're called, box. They're going to be epic. To have something like that in vanilla Minecraft it's just awesome. They also have the observer block that's kind of like a bud switch block, but because of what it does and how small it is, I'm not saying you can't already do all of these things. It's definitely possible, but this observer block I think will make a lot of stuff come out, new creativity and whatnot, and we're getting very, very, in my opinion, close to having something for vanilla Minecraft that has enough of what people crave from modded that you don't necessarily need to do the modded anymore. There is an exception to that, and it's a pretty large exception. The exception is that if you're looking for things that are going to be done in a hurry, that's still not vanilla. It's a something that you have to work for, and I think that's kind of the point for me. I'm a hands down, I'm a vanilla player. I love vanilla. That's what I want to do 24/7. So I'm not going to spend much time doing creative, except for maybe trying to figure something out here and there. But other than that, and it's very, very rare that does take place. I don't have interest in playing on a Minecraft on a creative level. I like the grind. It makes you feel like you accomplished something. I feel like I'm missing a few things here because I'm talking to you guys. I'll probably have to go back. Well, I'll finish this off camera anyway, but I'll probably have to go back and go through some of these sections and make sure they're lit up pretty good. A couple other things that I liked about the update that's coming out, and it's called the Adventure Update, if I remember correctly, or Exploration Update. The llamas, they're pretty cool. Being able to ride them, being able to put a chest on them. Basically, you can do that if you create a mule. But they have this cool adage that they chase and spit at wolves. Also, because of the way that it was working from what we saw, we're going to assume that if somebody does damage to them that is quote-unquote not their owner, they will potentially spit at them too. So it's almost like having an attacking mount in some respects. From what we saw, though, it looks like you can't put armor on them, so you're still going to have a reason to have yourself a nice horse or something like that where you can put diamond armor on there. So it's still a cool adage to the game. It's adding more bulk. It's adding some of those things like adding the polar bears recently. All of those things, they really add a lot of atmosphere to the game, and that's always been my beef with the game, is there isn't enough atmosphere, there isn't enough going on in the world to really make you want to go explore. And so I think that's what they're working on. They called this the Exploration Update. Well, if they stick with doing updates more often like they said they were going to, I hope that they add more to the exploration aspects of the game. They also have some new mobs that were based off the villagers, and they're called the Illagers or something like that, where they're evil villagers, and they have some that have special powers and stuff, and they show up in something called the Woodland Mansion, and they're going to be extremely low spawn rate, so they'll be somewhat difficult to find, but it sounds like it's going to be a fun little thing to come across and explore and kind of tackle. Also makes for, if you do decide to go grab one, makes for a great potential base, and those that don't like to do a lot of building, especially built-in platform with a base like that, that's pretty wicked googly awesome. I know that there's more that was talked about and released, but those were the things that specifically stick out in my head. Oops, there's already one here. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there with that. If you have any other things you'd like to hear my opinion on, go ahead and leave it into the comment section down below, and I will go ahead and bring it up on another episode. But I want to stop this now because I want to get the pumpkin pie thing done and move on. So before we get any further into this, it's essential that you understand I know nothing about redstone, and anything that I pretend to know, I probably looked up. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to make this work, but I think I have a system that's going to work for me. Over here you have a basic sorting system set up. These are the ones that you can stack side by side that pretty much everybody uses. Essentially, you come in here, you put some kind of filler. I named it eggs filler and used them, and then you got what you want to separate in there. So I'm going to be pumpkins, sugarcane, and eggs. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and grab some of those. Oh. Perfect. Alright, so I got them going in through hopper chains that are going to be under the ground into a dropper, which is right there, and I have a clock set up to keep it going all the time, but I also have a comparator coming out of it with a redstone torch off of it to turn it off. So if there's nothing in there, it's not running. There's another torch behind that block right there facing that way, so making this block hot and cold, hot and cold. So if you take a stack of anything, so let's take eggs and throw them in there, it's gonna go in there. This will be on, which also turns this torch off, and then when you run out of them, which should happen any second here, torch turns back on, which also turns on the repeater into this block, locking it, and that way you don't listen to the click, 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 click that happens. So I had to do a little bit of landscaping to add this in, but I made it work for me, and I figured out a way to make this all happy with itself. It's not like super happy with itself, but it's all happy with itself. Okay, so floor is going back to cobblestone just as it was, and this will keep stuff from getting sucked up by the hoppers. As far as I know, you cannot go through a full block and get things sucked up. So now all of that stuff is secure. And I have a chest set up right here that has the same amount of everything. Essentially, 4 rows of this equals 1 stack. 16 and 16 is 32. 32 and 32 is 64. That's 64. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of 64 capabilities for everything in here. This is all the materials you need to make a pumpkin pie, and I wanted to have everything come at me, like basically I'm gonna put a torch down here. Step on a pressure plate and it all pops out to me. Well, I forgot that a long time ago they made it so that when you dispense eggs out of a dispenser, they shoot and they can become chickens. So that's not going to work. It's just not going to work. As you can see, this thing's been running a long time, so there's plenty of eggs. The way the system is set up as well is I put it so that this one will go all the way over into the dropper directly, which is the eggs, which is the one we're going to potentially have an overflow on because it's running all the time. And then these ones kind of branch into each other, but there shouldn't be an issue of overflow with those ones. In fact, the way I want to set them up is hopefully off of a daylight sensor, just to plunk. If somebody's over here, it'll automatically harvest them if they're over here at the right time, and then come back in. So I'm going to try to basically have the same amount of harvestable space for each one, pumpkins and sugarcane, and then they'll come down into these. Now the beauty of the way I have this set up, if I did my job correctly, see how that stuff's sitting there? It cannot be accepted by it, because the only thing that is accepted by it are the things that are in the things. So sugarcane, pumpkins, and eggs. Now if I had thrown these in here, filler, then we would have been in a world of hurt, and that would have messed up the system. But these will all be covered up eventually. Essentially I want to do the same thing like it is here. Now that everything's covered with redstone, I can take that out. I want to put in wood on these. I was wanting to do that earlier, but I was afraid of the redstone. And then I can put another pillar of glass and another pillar of the wood and another pillar of glass. And then on here I want to put in some kind of designation as to what you can get in here. Obviously the main thing is, of course, pumpkin pies, but I think I'm going to put a chest for bread and a chest for cakes as well, so that way it looks like a full-fledged bakery. And maybe we'll even put in some kind of fake counter right here of somehow, but we can still access this. And then I'll probably, in fact, let's go ahead and do that right now. I think it's okay to put something here. Yes. I'm gonna just put this guy right in the ground like so you can access it, grab the stuff, make the pumpkin pies. And that's pretty much my plan for this. Well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this off or not, but this is what I've got going on here. I've got 5 spots for pumpkins to spawn in, and oops, they're at a higher thing than the sugarcane is. I don't have any on me. Okay, I'll just have to wait for it to grow. I have an additional plant there to kind of force the spawning in those 5 spots. It should happen regardless. Pumpkins can connect to each other, so you're gonna have one way or the other not work properly. Essentially, this should allow the pumpkins to grow all the way across no matter what. And then this is at roof level on the next one down. So this is the part that I don't know that's going to work. I also have 5 sugar canes, so we're creating the same amount. Only have one spot for them effectively to grow. I'm hoping that that's, you know, how it's going to end up. And then I have the pistons in place for all that stuff. I extended this water by 1 by doing a old trick where you just put an extension in down the line, and you can extend it 1 more to get it to where you need to go, and then I can get it to that location. I think the easiest way to tackle this at this point is probably pull the roof off and see what I can do for redstone signal to everything. If I can get everything to one location, then I can work on figuring out what to do with a daylight sensor or what have you. Alright, I got it figured out. This will be very, very, very weird, but trust me, it works. So essentially, I can go like this. I think I have enough light in here with the way this is set up. In fact, I can just go ahead and pop all of that shut. Don't think that'll screw anything up. And then I can place down a water source in this corner. And before I get swept away, come back in here. I can put down 5 sugarcane, all of which can grow 1 more higher, and they have pistons in front of them. Now, there is a chance that I'm going to get some to drop on this, but that's as best as I can do with what I got. The water current goes all the way to the end, and I can put another piece of, or another source of water there to bring it back down. I don't even need to do that, I want to. All of these should get hooked up as well to that, so basically, let me put a thing here. There's another piston that goes right here, but then I have redstone that goes all the way across the top into a repeater over here, and a repeater right there. And if I put in a torch right there, everything should be good to go. Let's go ahead and double check that. Yep, all the pistons are down. So that is good to go there. This doesn't need to be there or there. Okay. And then I can just put another piston in place right here. And oops, that was the wrong thing. There we go. Boom. Everything is back in place, as you can see by the pumpkins automatically growing, and everything should be good to go. Well, folks, I think I've completed this as best as I can in the space. Hello, little guy. But we did come across something that is an issue, and I don't know how I'm going to address it. I think I'm just going to turn weather off. I have... It looks like basically what happened is I got struck by lightning and then caught on fire. I'm pretty sure that's what happened, because that's what it looks like. And I'm going to keep fire spread on because I think that's part of the game, you know. To not have fire spread on is just odd to me. But because I have it set up so that sleeping can, one person sleeping can change it to day, it changed the way they're coming from over there, constantly over there. There's got to be some dark area over there I need to fix, somewhere over there, back in that area. Because of that, there's lightning constantly the way I have it set up, and you can change it so that the weather changes indifferently, more like normal, and there you go, it's turned off. So it's not going to be very fast, but I think I'll have stuff spawn just the same, as far as pumpkins and sugarcane goes. So I think what I'm going to do is fix that and get some stuff together, and then we're going to head out of here. This is the end of Spawn Village for us. We've completed it. We have all of the buildings built the way we want them to be built, and we can move on to do another project at this point. It's going to be weird going on to do something else. We've been here for such a long time, but I think it's time. Well, folks, it is time. It is time to say goodbye to Spawn Village. I've pretty much gotten everything done in this area that I could, and I've spent way more time than I needed to get all those things. As you can see over there, there's a villager. We've still got 2 here. Took out the villager breeder that was here, and just have the 2. Yeah, okay, they're still both there. Finish this up on the interior. Got some cakes and breads and sign saying what everything is, and it's all free, but I'm willing to take donations if anybody wants to. Also got this going. Pumpkins for some reason don't seem to be harvesting as well as they should be. I think the way the new mechanics work, they're not getting put off the edge. Also got a donation box there. I was going to put a villager in here, but I just never got to that point. Maybe down the road. I don't really... Doesn't need to happen. It's not that big of a deal. Also have a villager over on that guy over there. And I fixed the one building that was pretty much toast. That one right there. So everything's good to go. Got all the stuff lit up around the area. We can take one more look at what it looks like from up in the sky here. And then I think we'll set off into the wild blue yonder. Try to find some new place to call home. Let's go ahead and get up here a ways. That's probably good. There we go. Have the extra chimney over there. You can see with the daylight sensor, and all that stuff up there. Pretty good little build that this turned out to be. It was very fun, and a couple of things didn't turn out the way that I expected them to, but I don't really ever plan out things super huge in advance. You know, I like to see where things take me, and this one came out good. It's a lot of brown from up above, I gotta say, with all the roofs, but there we go. That is that. Did I take a picture? And we are good to go. Go ahead and hop in a boat. I got a few things on me ready to go out. Out this direction here is where I'm planning on going. I hit the wrong buttons. Constantly hitting the wrong buttons. I know that there's somebody over there, somebody over there, somebody over there. I don't know which direction Water Bear's in. I do know that everything's already been opened up. Wow. But other than that, it's time to set off as the sun is setting. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode and this build. As usual, folks, thanks for watching. Don't forget that like and subscribe if you enjoy my videos. And I hope to see you in another adventure here in Minecraft as we continue to create, explore, and talk about life. I will see you next time.